Does Rodgers know what he's in for this summer?
Absolutely not. This is not Green Bay, where they fawn over Rodgers and they bow the great Aaron, who won a Super Bowl. This is New York, with a fan base that is very, very nervous year in and year out, got a defeatist attitude, where he throws an incomplete pass on a 2-minute drill in late July in a big spot with those fans watching a practice session. It's going to be on the back page of the New York Post. And that is going to drive him crazy. And remember one thing about Rodgers, he did not win a Super Bowl for the Jets. He won a Super Bowl for Green Bay. The Jet fan doesn't care what he did with the Packers. The Jet fan wants Rodgers to come in here and win a Super Bowl. If he has a hiccup in training camp, in the big picture, it doesn't mean anything. But if he has a hiccup in July or August, he is going to get annoyed as all could be. We're making a big deal about this, guys, really? That's the sort of scenario with millions of writers, with the Mets being lousy. We've read enough about Aaron Judge's toe. The Giants are a quiet team. The Knicks are going to go away. Don't get Harden, by the way. The Knicks are going to go away. The Rangers are going. The Jets are the story. In 2 weeks, I mean, remember, they start training camp a week early because they're playing the NFL Hall of Fame game. In 2 weeks, they're going to be on the back page and the front page of the New York papers every day. And that's before a game is starting. And they're going to look at Rodgers and they're going to scrutinize him like you wouldn't believe. And that is going to drive them absolutely crazy. I think the Jets, this carnival act, could be a major problem. For a team that's not used to it and a team that never wins, I think it's a major problem.
You know,
there's nothing to exhale about, Steve.
Mad Dog Russo, I mean, there's a variety of takes. There's a variety of descriptions that you could apply to his takes. Always amusing, always informed. There are times, however, when I believe that Mad Dog Russo needs to be drug tested. This is one of those times. Something is wrong with you, okay? Now, I will confess I do have a source, but I have to say that in the interest of full disclosure, Courtney, okay, Christine, that I have to monitor what I say when I'm getting at him because, see, I happen to love Mrs. Mad Dog Russo. You understand what I'm saying? I have to love her. So I had to make sure, you know, that I carefully word my verbiage is careful because she is his ultimate security guard. She don't play and she scares me. However, that is the most asinine take that you have given since you have arrived here. So let me get this straight. A man who is a Super Bowl champion, a man from a talent perspective who is considered arguably the greatest quarterback who has ever lived, a man who has been to numerous conference championship games, that dude, who is succeeding Zach Wilson, who is playing for an organization now that hasn't won a Super Bowl since 1968. Okay, when Broadway Joe Namath, okay, was gracing the headlines and everything. The same franchise that hasn't been to the playoffs since 2010. The same franchise that's been to a couple, I mean, was it 3 AFC championship games? I guess 4 if you count Mark Gastineau and Joe Klecko and those boys from the 80s, okay? That franchise is going to be in a position where everybody is going to lose their mind because he throws an incomplete pass or doesn't look that accurate in July. In July, you didn't even have the decency to sit up there and say September or October. No, July, meaningless games before preseason starts. You're trying to tell me that Aaron Rodgers has to be concerned about headlines and how he's going to be portrayed and he's succeeding Zach Wilson? Do you have any idea? Listen, New York's got a lot going on. But if there was ever an individual that was in a position to be a godlike figure in the world of sports, it would be Aaron Rodgers, because you got to take into account the purgatory that has been the New York Jets for ages. Anything this dude pass gas, they'll think it's perfume. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It makes no sense what you're saying. Zero, none. Now, if he was doing it in October and they're losing games during the regular season because there's only 17, I get your point. That's not what Mad Dog Russo said, Courtney. This man said in July. Meaningless games, not even preseason, training camp. If he doesn't look accurate throwing the football, there's going to be back pages. People are going to lose their mind.
was the
What are
question?
you talking about?
Before Courtney has a
It makes
chance.
no sense.
What was the question?
Oh,
Does
my God.
Rodgers know what he's in for this
That's
summer?
the question.
Well, remember, we've already seen him deal with the wrath of the New York media and the back page punny headlines when he had the calf injury during OTAs. There was the over-magnification, the freaking out over something that became so benign. Look, he showed up to training camp on time. He's here. He's a part of this team. Yet we look at the injury and we say, oh, no, Aaron Rodgers, like, is this going to end up becoming doomsday? When that was May. Aaron Rodgers has dealt with the paparazzi treatment in the NFL throughout his entire career. I go back 2 years ago, July 27, 2021. I'm up on Twitter, scrolling late at night, seeing, did he land in Green Bay?
Yes.
Is he there? Is he going to be there for training camp? Is he no longer holding the team hostage? The media attention there. 500 million people watched that Pat McAfee live stream when he announced his intentions to go to the New York Jets. I was one of those lemmings. So, and I'm sure most of us here were at this table.
Yes.
It's not the first time that he's dealt with it. And the perception is it's going to only get worse. The New York market is going to hold him accountable. The national media has been on him for years now, whether it's misleading about his vaccination status, the holding the
That's
team
what I got
hostage.
on him about.
And that's what he's grown to know. The guy is a superstar in the NFL. This is superstar treatment. I get it here in this market, and I'm not going to speak to that because I have not worked in the New York market. Both of you two know that. There will be more media showing up every single day.
Sure.
And if something goes awry in training camp, if his friends that he decided to bring with him, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, the entire group from Green Bay that he wanted here, if those guys don't pan out, who gets the blame? Aaron Rodgers.
Let me put you a little quiz here. What has been Aaron Rodgers' worst moment since he's arrived as a New York Jet? It's easy. I can tell you what it is.
Going to Taylor Swift?
There you go. There you go.
I was gonna
That's
say
the
bring
worst.
Sauce
That's
Gardner
his
to
worst
the
moment.
game.
I mean, it was. Oh my God, that brother. Thank God he never showed up on Dancing with the Stars. Thank God he never did that. That would have been. He need to stay the hell away from the dance floor. Okay. That's about all. That's about it. There's nothing football related that you judge against Aaron Rodgers. In July is all I'm saying. I'm not talking about once the games start. I'm talking about in July to sit up there and to know this man's greatness, this man's history of greatness.
Take it easy.
And to act like, excuse me, Aaron Rodgers is not great?
Hey,
is that what you're saying?
he's not an immortal.
Excuse me.
He's not an immortal.
I understand that. Hold on, wait a minute. Don't try to play
Not an immortal.
trick
Not
with the
Brady.
words with me. Let me tell you something right now. I didn't say immortal.
You said
greatness. I said greatness. He's not great. Aaron Rodgers is not great. Am I missing something?
Greatness is different.
475 touchdowns, 105 interceptions, 59,000 career passing yards. What are you talking about?
Greatness is different than great. When you say greatness, that conjures this immortality that he is not.
Excuse me.
And he wasn't great last year.
I'm not saying he's an immortal because the reality of the situation is you need more than one Super Bowl championship. Fair enough. But I've heard people call Dan Marino great, and I know he's great. He never won a Super Bowl championship.
An immortal.
I remember Dan Fouts never won a Super Bowl.
Not an
He
immortal.
was great. I remember Kenny Anderson was great. He never won a Super Bowl. And there's plenty of dudes that have not won at all. Aaron Rodgers does have a Super Bowl championship. And his career numbers and his level of accuracy and the great moments that he has provided with his ability over the years is unquestioned.
You forgot about the Lion game?
Man.
You forgot about the Lion game.
Excuse me.
How about the Niner game in the snow?
I called it out. I've been very disappointed in what we saw from him the last couple of years. First in the playoff game against listen, NFC Championship game against Brady, when the ball was taken out of his hands by LaFleur. Then we had the next year with San Francisco. He lost to Jimmy Garoppolo. And then you lose in the regular season finale against Detroit. I understand there are bad moments, but there are far more great ones. This is Aaron freaking Rodgers you are talking about. You better watch your mouth and be respectful. Go ahead.
Can I say, it's July. And of course, Hard Knocks, potential for them to have the Jets this year. People are going to call it a distraction. clue you in on this. Like, the team has the final editorial control over it. So if there's something they don't want out there that could yield headlines, that's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers isn't worried about what the headlines are in July. He's worrying about how to prepare for these defenses that are better than what he saw in the NFC North the last couple of years. He has to face Leonard Floyd now with the Bills twice a year. That's somebody who sacked him 9 times over his career. He's got to face Vic Fangio, Jalen Ramsey down in Miami. He's got to face a Patriots defense that just spent its 2 top picks on defenders. More than anything, the headlines, the conjecture, anything that's, media. The media is stuff that Aaron Rodgers isn't going to give a damn about at the end of the day.
And he
even in October, if they really are struggling.
Listen. He'll care if they're struggling in October because those games count, and with everything that's transpired, he definitely has to deliver, meaning he has to show up. The Jets have to be a playoff team. With that defense, they damn well better be a playoff team because he obviously is considered the missing ingredient. But don't insult him by acting like July is supposed to be treated like it's a regular
It's on the
season
back
game.
page, and he has a bad.
He's not new to this.
No.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.